Stop trying to win your fights in the first round. Michael McLean, brassballsvideos.com. I'm a former ex-professional coach, hockey coach, championship amateur hockey coach turned 8-figure entrepreneur. I shoot these videos every day on my broken iPhone. Just a little mini adventure as I walk around my neighborhood in Naples, Southwest Florida. You can subscribe at brassballsvideos.com. Today is the last day if you subscribe to my email newsletter at brassballsvideos.com to get the PDF I did on Coach Jim Harbaugh, Michigan National Championship head coach Jim Harbaugh. He has 20 rules for life on his business card. I did a complete breakdown of the 20 rules that Harbaugh has on his business card. It's a 2 or 3 page printable PDF, yours free at brassballsvideos.com. When you go and subscribe, it's yours as a free gift for subscribing to my email list. I'm going to leave it up for one more day, 24 hours. Then I'll take it down and put something else up. That's national champion football coach Jim Harbaugh's 20 rules for life. It's one of the best documents I've ever seen. It's a little business card he keeps, but I break down all 20 of the rules and how they can help you when you subscribe at brassballsvideos.com. The link is below. So the last thing on Coach Harbaugh today, one of my favorite rules out of the 20, he's got these 20 rules on his print business card. I have a longtime client of mine who his son was recruited for almost 5 years ago. He's a blue chip prospect. He was recruited by Harbaugh. He was recruited by Nick Saban. He was recruited by, Kirby Smart, like all these guys, like any school he wants to go to. And he eventually decided to go to Michigan, where he played the last 4 years. And he was on the team that won a national championship a couple months ago. But I remember his dad, who's a good friend of mine. He's a former mastermind client of mine. Sometimes client. And he was telling me about the recruiting visits from Coach Harbaugh. And just amazing stuff. Like he talked about Harbaugh coming to see his son and how he separated himself from all the other coaches, including guys like, Saban, all the top guys. So he talked about, like, one of the things he talked about was the paper, the old school business card that Harbaugh left with him and his wife and their son. He came to see the family a couple of times. And how my friend, who's an entrepreneur, he's one of the top guys in his industry in America. And he said, we were so impressed because Harbaugh was the only guy that came and sat at the kitchen table, and he talked 90% about life. He talked 90% about he told the parents and he told the athlete, his son, he said, like Saban, he said, make a 40-year decision, not a 4-year decision. If you're going to come to Michigan, it's about becoming a better person, a better man, eventually a better husband, a better father, a better whatever. Most guys don't play in the National Football League was his message. So they were really impressed by Harbaugh's candor, but they were also impressed by the business card that he left them. And on this business card was these 20 lessons for living that Harbaugh, many of them are from his dad, many of them are from his playing career, his NFL career as a coach, college ball, and I'm sure he has one now, a new one with the Chargers. But these are incredible maxims or rules or beliefs to use. And I broke them down on a PDF that you can get when you join my list at brassballsvideos.com. But one of my favorite top 3 was what I said at the beginning of this video. Stop trying to win all your fights in the first round. I'll never forget I said to my dad one time when I was in the insurance business, I said, Dad, I was born impatient. I'm going to die impatient. And he said, well, that's fine, but that's not going to work in business. That's not going to work in hockey, where you also are. That's not going to work in fundraising. It's not going to work as a father. It's not going to work in marriage. It's just not going to work. So he said, you can tell as many people as you want that you were born impatient and you're going to die impatient. But he says that patience will be your undoing unless you understand that there's absolutely no shortcuts to anywhere worth going. My grandfather used to say that. My father says that today at age 90. There's no shortcuts to anywhere worth going. And I see most people today, young and old, and it's all about the magic pill, the magic bean, the ninja hack, any way to work less, any way to cut out the process. And it's all about instant gratification. Like, why do you think Nick Saban has retired from college coaching? Every single prospect and recruit he sat down with over the last couple years has asked about two things now. They've asked about playing time without earning it. That's entitlement. And secondly, how much money can I make at Alabama? That's the NIL program, right? Names, images, likeness, how much. So the two questions that Saban was getting the most, how much playing time can I be guaranteed without earning it? And secondly, how much money can I make? So me, all about me. And this is what these young recruits have grown up watching, right? They see players, it's all about me. The players are acting cool. This is in basketball, this is in baseball, this is in football. So it's all about me. And those programs have been successful at Clemson, at Michigan, at Alabama, at Georgia, because they're some of the last programs. They have the best players, but they have the best team concept. They have the most accountability built in to earning it, to deserving it, accountability. And it's something that Harbaugh, it took him a while, as you know, to build Michigan. And I'm quite certain he looked at that business card every day and said, stop trying to win your fights in the first round. You know, if you're Mike Tyson in your prime, maybe you can win it in the first round. But by the way, Mike Tyson used to train 12 weeks, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week to get that knockout in the first or second round. My dad said to me, he goes, son, I'm sorry, but for a healthy marriage, like a marriage that's on fire. My mom and dad have been married for 60 some years. He said, if you want a marriage that's on fire, there's no finish line. Every day is the start of that relationship. Every day is the start of that relationship. He said, if you want to be a connected and present father, there's no finish line. There's no finish line. Every day you get up and you impact her life again. There's no finish line. He said, in the insurance business here, he said, I know that you want to do this all in 1 year. You want to be number one in the country. You want to transform the family agency. But he said, it's going to take you at least 10 years to hit your stride. That's a minimum. That's a minimum, a decade. Well, I was like, I'm better than that. I'm smarter than that. I'm a better marketer than that. And I was in the insurance business with my dad for 17 years, but it took me exactly 10 years to become the number one agent in the entire country. And no matter how much I worked, no matter how much time I invested, no matter how much money I spent, I struggled, win some, lose some, struggle, challenges, all kinds of problems. And then in my 10th year, I hit my stride. It took me an entire decade working every day around the clock to finally hit my stride. And I thought I was going to do it in a year. Well, I didn't do it in a year. I tried to win my fight in the first round, and it took me 10 rounds. So then I buy the local hockey team, the New York Yankees of junior hockey, the Dallas Cowboys of junior hockey, the Perth Blue Wings. My dad's in the Hockey Hall of Fame as the #1 inductee. The team's on life support. It's nearly bankrupt. It's in the outhouse. I buy the team. I take on the challenge on the ice and off the ice. It's in the bottom. Can I take this once proud Yankees Cowboys style franchise to the pinnacle? Can I take it from the outhouse to the penthouse? Well, of course I can. Yours relentless. I say to myself, Dad, I'm going to win a championship. We're going to be first in attendance. We're going to be profitable. I'm going to make this the #1 place to be in our small community on game night. I'm going to turn this into Alabama. I'm going to turn this into the New York Yankees. I'm going to turn this into the Montreal Canadiens in the first year. And I go guns a-blazing and I work around the clock. And my dad just sits there and he's like, remember my 10-year rule. It's going to take you close to a decade to get and hit your stride in this business. I'm like, no. I'm smarter. I'm better. These guys don't know how to market. I know how to recruit. I'm better than these guys. Year 1, we finished second. Year 2, second. Year 3, second. Year 4, second. Year 5, second. And it takes me 7 years, 7 seasons to win our first Barclay Cup in 25, 30 years. 7 years of around-the-clock work with the best coaches, the best recruiters, the best facilities, the best fans, and it still took 7 years. 7 years to put a championship ring on my finger. And then I remember walking into my dad's office. He says, you're ahead of schedule. It could have taken 10. And this is the message he kept saying to me when I lost in year 1, in year 2, in year 3, in year 4, in year 5, in year 6. He's like, you're just on pace. You're just on pace. Like Harbaugh, stop trying to win your fight in the first round. No, there is no shortcut to going anywhere worthwhile. Now, I had a mentor tell me one time, Wayne Maxner was my pro hockey and junior hockey mentor. Maxner coached the Detroit Red Wings, one of the most decorated junior hockey coaches in the world, the late, great Wayne Maxner. And when I was working for Maxner as an assistant coach, and then I was head coach and onward from there, he had me in pro hockey when I was 24. So he said, listen, Michael, when it comes to fitness, nutrition, the job that you take, the job you turn down, whatever it does, the date you go on, the friend you make, whatever it is in your life, before you say yes to it, before you say yes to anything in your life, it has to pass the decade test. And I was like 23, 24, 25 at the time. And I'm like, Max, what's the decade test to saying yes? He said, do not start anything, whether it's walking, lifting weights, not drinking, taking on a new friend, hiring an assistant coach, hiring an executive director, moving to a different community, buying a car, whatever it is. If you're not willing to do it relentlessly for a decade, 10 years minimum, don't start. Now, the key piece he said to me was this. Doesn't mean you have to do it for 10 years. You can win a Barclay Cup in 7 and you can walk away into the sunset. But your mindset has to be anything you decide to do. Well, I'm going to build an audience on Twitter. Well, it better pass the decade test. You're going to post every day for 10 years, never miss a day. If you're not willing to do that, then don't start. Well, I'm going to build a following on YouTube. Okay, sounds great. Are you willing to shoot a video 365 days a year, Gary Vee it, or like I do, for years and years, up to a decade when nobody's watching, nobody cares? Are you willing to do that for a decade? If not, I wouldn't start trying to build an audience on YouTube. You're not going to make it. Same thing when I bought that hockey team. Max would have said to me, he would have said, listen, he says, if you buy this team, I know you think you're Superman, but the reality is it's probably going to take you 10 years to put the program and turn it around. It took Saban years. It took Harbaugh years. It took Belichick years. And it doesn't always take a decade, but a lot of times it takes more than a decade to hit your stride. And don't start lifting weights. Don't start eating better. Don't stop drinking alcohol. Don't start going on date nights during the week. Don't start doing anything, doing a monthly newsletter, sending out emails. Don't do it. Save yourself. You're not serious if you're not willing to do it for a decade. It really is a test of your character. It's a test of, are you willing to walk for 10 years every day in the dark, in the snow, in the bugs, in the heat, when you're sick, when you're happy, when you're sad, and see hardly any results for 10 years? Are you willing to do that? Because if you're not, if you're just going to phone it in or mail it in a few months, then don't even start. Same thing, for eating better or drinking. If you're just going to stop drinking alcohol for 30 days, one of those goofy, normie, dry months, why bother? You're not a serious person. You're not a serious person. You're not serious in that area for sure. Like now that I've been lifting weights and going to the gym 4 days a week, I finally made the decision in December of this year, because I finally could answer the question in the mirror to the man, me, that yes, I'm going to do this to the day I die. It's that important. And until then, I didn't fool myself. I didn't lie to myself. I didn't try to be a fraud or a pretender. It just didn't pass the decade test. I wasn't a serious person about lifting. I'll walk, I'll drink water, I'll do that, but I wasn't. Same thing with my flyers. Like I started with 500 flyers a month in the insurance business. By the time I was done 17 years later, we were mailing 143,000 flyers a month. From 500 to 140, I never stopped. I just got a little bit more each month. But I was committed to that for 17 years. 17 years. People walking in the agency saying they got my flyer for 9 years, 10 years, and they finally called or they finally brought their business to us. Stop trying to win your fights in the first round. And, I don't care about an entrepreneur's impatience. Anything worth doing to build anything worthwhile, to build anything that will stand the test of time, not some goofy, anti-social media following that they can pull the plug anytime, or a bunch of freebie seekers on a list. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about building an empire physically, mentally, business-wide that is literally built on concrete. Literally built on concrete, not quicksand. The hacks and the shortcuts and the magic beans, that's all quicksand stuff. Oh, I have a following on Facebook and Twitter. You don't own a following, they own it. Zuckerberg owns it, he owns your ass. Tim Cook owns your ass. But building an email list, now that's cement, that's on concrete. Building, shooting a video every day for 5 years, that's building something on concrete. Concrete, your health in the gym, drinking water, weekly date nights, connection with your kids. That's the kind of stuff that has lasting impression. And that doesn't happen in the first round. Anything worthwhile in your life and mine takes a minimum 10 years to build it. That's it. I'm going to take down that Jim Harbaugh PDF later today. If you want to look at it, you want to print it off, you want to keep it, it's a couple of pages. It's Jim Harbaugh's 20 Rules for Living. It's fantastic. I don't give a shit whether you like Harbaugh or you hate the ground. Learn from everybody. I hope you're a little bit deeper and a little bit smarter than that. There's something we can learn from everybody. There's something you can learn from everybody. This isn't about football. This is about life lessons that can help you and other people. Go to brassballsvideo.com, brassballsvideos.com. The link's below. Sign up. Give me your email. You can unsubscribe if you want later. I'm not going to bother you. I don't care if you stay or go. And opt in, and you'll get access by email. I'll email it to you. And you now have that Jim Harbaugh's 20 rules for living, which is one of the most powerful documents I've seen in a long time. Yours free. 2 words that change my life. 2 words that'll change yours. Be relentless.